What's up, everybody? I'm doing this live video to give my opinion on medical marijuana and just to talk about it a little bit. At the same time, I have everything set up. So if anyone tunes in and watches this live and they want to come in and talk to me about medical marijuana or give a story or anything about medical marijuana, they can come on and we can set it up and I can broadcast that person live so they can give their opinion, okay? So until anyone wants to come on or say anything, I'll just keep talking about medical marijuana because I am a marijuana user. I have been for quite a few years. I have a prescription. I've had my medical prescription for 2 years now. I will admit I have used I was using marijuana before my prescription. I got it from a veteran who was using it, and he had a prescription and he was sharing it with me because he had more than he needed. And I remember when I was in Edmonton, rewind back 10 years ago, I was in Edmonton. At one point I was on 4 different medications at one time, and all these medications had different side effects. I remember having moments where I just felt like numb, like I didn't find anything funny. I wasn't sad. I wasn't angry. I was just numb. I had other medications that took away my sex drive. Absolutely no sex drive whatsoever. I've had, hey Matt, you smoked for many years? Yeah. I've had, you know, I remember too talking to my psychiatrist at the time, telling me how much each pill cost, right? And I've had pills that were like over $100 a pill and stuff. But anyway, I didn't like the pills because all the different side effects and everything. And I wrote a book about my life. My second book talks about one time when I tried to kill myself, and I took a bunch of my pills that I've been taking, right? And I'm being fast forward now, I have my marijuana prescription, and I've been using marijuana for quite a few years now. Now that I'm on the marijuana, it is the only prescription I use. I'm not on any other pill, right? So I went from 4 pills down to just marijuana use. I use the oil and the dry herb or whatever, I guess it's called. Since using it, I mean, I used to deal a lot with nightmares, and I don't know what it is, man. I use a little cannabis before going to bed, and I am sure I still dream. I just don't remember my dreams, right? So I've been sleeping a lot better since using marijuana, and when you sleep a lot better, you're getting your sleep, you're not so irritable, right? Which is a big plus when you're dealing with PTSD, right? How I got my prescription. Now remember, I'm Canadian, right? What I'm talking about is the rules in Canada, right? So listen, if anyone's watching this and they got any advice on marijuana use, or they got any stories they want to tell, anything, just let me know and we can hook it up so you can be chatting live with me, right? Like I do my buddy chats, right? Because I'd love to hear opinions from different countries on medical marijuana. But anyway, I got my prescription through a PTSD buddy named Daryl. I'm not going to say his last name, but Daryl runs Marijuana for Trauma in Winnipeg, Canada. And he helped me, and Marijuana for Trauma helped me get my prescription. They lined me up with a doctor that I talked to. And what I liked about Marijuana for Trauma was they didn't just, you know, here's some marijuana, you're good, see you later. They show me different ways to use marijuana, because the only way I ever heard of was just rolling a joint. But they showed me different ways, you know, with the oils and with pills, using a vaporizer, right? So they showed me how to check with the CBDs and the THC, right? So there's a lot to it, right? There is a lot to it. There's more to it than just rolling a joint and being stoned and eating chips, right? I really think marijuana saved my life. Like I said, I don't have the nightmares no more. It has helped me big time with the anxiety. Matt says he can't smoke now because of work. My meds I take now make me a zombie. Yeah, I hear you, brother, man. Like I said earlier, I was taking a lot of different pills, and they were making me a zombie. I remember at one point, I said to a friend, I think someone could walk in and slap my kid in the face and I wouldn't care right now. I just feel dead. And when I said the words out loud and heard them, I was like, holy shit, no, this is not me, man. This is not me, right? My kids are everything. So, yeah, I don't know, since I've been using the marijuana, I'm not saying it works for everybody. I'm not saying it's a fucking, the miracle cure, right? But it has helped me. What's Rachel saying? Hey, Rachel, I'm highly interested in the oil, but it ain't prescribed in Australia. Yeah, sorry to hear that, Rachel, because I do find it work really good. I'll tell you a story. I have a friend. She's a relative. She's 76 years old. Lady friend. She has arthritis in her hands, and I came home one time with the liquid oil, and she always wanted to try it. She says she was 76 years old, right? And I didn't want to give it to her because I was frightened because she never did it before. But anyway, she ended up trying it. This lady, I'll give you a long story short, this lady was on 5 or 6, she said, Tylenol a day. And when I talked to her, at the time I talked to her, she hadn't been able to make a fist, she said, in 5 weeks. Anyway, she tried a little tiny bit, just a little tiny bit of the cannabis oil, because she was scared of it. And next thing I know, because I didn't even know she took it, she come in making fist and tears running down her face, all excited about it, right? And saying that that's when I found out she hadn't made a fist in so long. And anyway, she has her own prescription now, 76 years old. And her first time using any kind of marijuana, and she's on the eye drops or whatever you want to call it. And I just think it's great because she was hiding it. She was hiding the pain from her husband. She was hiding the swelling from everybody. And right now, I'm happy to tell you the swelling has gone down. She's making fists all the time. She's back to cooking again. She's a whole new lady. And she's not taking all these Tylenol pills anymore. So, what's going on there? Actually, medical marijuana and CBD has allowed me to get completely off prescription pills. Getting my medical card for PTSD has been life-changing for me. I agree, actually. It's like I said before, I was on 4 different pills. Now I'm just on the marijuana. At first, I planned on hiding it from my kids. I have 2 kids, right? That's one big reason why I use a vaporizer. But I don't do it around my kids, but they know. They know I do it. I can't hide it from them, right? I'm not going to even try. But they know about it, and I don't smoke it in the house or nothing like that, right? I go outside and I have me and the dog. Dog takes a pee, and I use my vaporizer. Yeah. But anyone got any stories? Anyone that wants to come online and join me and tell me some stories or their opinion on the medical marijuana? I know in Canada, my first year of getting a prescription, they gave me 10 grams because I didn't smoke, right? And I didn't want to smoke. I told them I wanted to eat it, so they gave me 10 grams. But I was still serving in the military. And when you're in the military doesn't cover marijuana, but Veterans Affairs will cover marijuana. So if I'm serving in the military, you can't have marijuana. But once you release, then Veterans Affairs will back you on it, right? So right now I'm on, my prescription is 3 grams a day. I just got my prescription actually renewed Saturday past. I talked to a doctor, and that's what I'm on now, 3 grams a day. And it works for me. I said before, I don't think it's a miracle cure. A lot of people, the only problem I have with marijuana is a lot of people find it works so well that they think they don't need to see a doctor or nothing anymore, and I think that's wrong. I think you should always continue to see a doctor. And I don't agree with using marijuana that you get off the street. You don't know what you're getting off the street. I've heard talk, like I live in a place called St. John's, And in St. John's, I've heard a few times on the news where marijuana was laced with something. I mean, there's so much drugs out there now with fentanyl and everything else. I've even heard of even being something so simple as being sprayed with hairspray, right? You don't know what you're getting when you get it off the street. But if you see a doctor and you're doing it the right way, in my opinion, I fully support it. That is my opinion. But we're PTSD buddies. We're worldwide, guys. You know yourselves, we have groups all over the world, from here to Australia, UK, Europe, we're everywhere. So there's different rules in different countries. So when it comes to, hey Kara, so when it comes to posting about marijuana, I'm not going to say no to it, but you got to remember too, what rules you have to follow in your country might be different for somebody else. So just keep that in mind when you're posting about marijuana. Kira says, hi Jamie, I have a prescription for medical marijuana too, but physically health is too bad to use at the moment. Sorry to hear that, Kira. But it's good to see Kira back on the group. Kira, I've been missing your videos, girl. Hey Rachel. Rachel also supports. It's good to hear, Rachel. But I don't know what else I can say about medical marijuana. That's about all that I know when it comes to marijuana in Canada. Do I think the U.S. federal law will change? I think it will. I think the law is slowly going green. Canada is planning to go full legal in Canada Day 2018. That's when Justin Trudeau plans on doing it. And you know, I'm slowly watching the United States. You know, I'm watching state after state flip over, right? It's becoming more social. What's the word I'm looking for? It's just becoming more known. It's not so hush-hush no more and hidden, right? People are realizing, you know, let's face it, it's a plant, you know, it just grows in the ground, you know, and I don't know if any of you guys ever watched Cat Williams. Go to YouTube and type in Cat Williams weed, and Cat Williams describes it best. He's a comedian, and I love him. He says, marijuana is just a plant. It just grows like that. And if you so happen to set it on fire, there are some effects. You know, and the effects are happy, hungry, sleepy. That's about it, right? And it's true. I mean, he said, you could walk into a drugstore and buy a thing of Tylenol, a bottle of Tylenol, and take 15 Tylenol, and it would be your last headache. But I have never, and I'm not saying this ever happened, but I have never heard of anyone overdosing on marijuana. Now, I've heard of people passing out, and going to sleep, and eating too much, and stuff like that. But I've never heard of anyone really hurting themselves because of marijuana. Now, I'm not saying this never happened. It might have. I'm just saying I never heard of it. If you want to know more about the effects of marijuana, there is a movie. I do recommend it. It is funny. It's called Super Jaime. If you have Netflix, it's on Netflix. And what it is, there's a stand-up comedian. And what he does, and he's a pot smoker, right? He's a weed smoker. And he goes 30 days without smoking pot. And during those 30 days, he does a sperm test, and an IQ test, and the lung capacity test, and all these different tests. And then he goes 30 days smoking weed constantly, from the morning time he gets up to the time he goes to sleep. If you ever seen the movie called Super Size Me, where Buddy just eats McDonald's all the time, well, it's like that. Only thing is, instead of McDonald's, Buddy's just smoking pot like something crazy. And then he does all these tests. And it's interesting to see the difference between his scores when he wasn't smoking weed and when he was. Super Jaime. I recommend the movie. Let me see. Number one side effect is dry mouth. Yeah, I hear that. I do find, though, another side effect, Matt, is a lot of people with PTSD have social anxiety, and I find weed is not often a good help with social anxiety. Now, it does differ, I find, for myself, with smoking it and with the drops and with the vaporizer. I find it's like 3 different levels, and I find if I smoke it, I don't want to go nowhere, so I don't usually smoke it that often. If I use a vaporizer or if I use the drops, I'm fine, and I'm more social. I'm more easy to go to a crowd. Jamie, you mentioned it works for you. Symptoms go away. Well, yeah, the symptoms. Well, for me, it's when I was going to, when my PTSD was bad, Ruby, I was going to work and coming home from work angry. I was like bringing my work home. So I need to come home, and I used to hide in the basement and try to calm the fuck down. And it used to take hours. So now I come home and I have a smoke and I chill out and I go where I can be around anybody. And I'm not coming down and smoking a lot. I'm not even smoking a full joint. I got this vaporizer and it takes like a little pinch, right? And I use that and I'm good to go and stuff, right? Kira was talking about as long as you aren't driving or working heavy machinery. Yeah, that's a big scary thing too. I know the police in Canada are working on a breathalyzer because I am a marijuana user, but I don't want to see people who are driving around in vehicles and that using marijuana. That's not on, right? They need to come up with a solution there or some kind of breathalyzer. I heard of some kind of tape they have that they can put on your tongue and tell that you've used marijuana in some amount of time, right? But yeah, Heather wishes it was legal here. Heather, come on over to Canada. Heather, we'd love to have you. Right? But yeah, for me, when I order it too, now that when I have my prescription, they put me to what's it called, a supplier. I call it the dealer because it stays in my head longer and better. But anyway, you get a supplier. My supplier is called Med Relief. And what you do is I log in. I have an account now with MediRelief because once my doctor approves my prescription, he sends it to Marijuana for Trauma because that's who I dealt with. And Marijuana for Trauma sends my prescription off to the supplier that I chose. And I chose MediRelief when I first got my prescription. So MediRelief gets my prescription and they send me an email saying, yep, we got your prescription. You're good to go to log in. So I log in, create an account, and then you're going through it, right? And you just don't just pick any weed. You read it, and you read the CBD levels. CBDs is what you want for pain, and you got your THC, which is more of your like a brain medicine, you know, for moods and stuff like that, right? Mine, I have knee problems, but my main thing for my marijuana use is PTSD, and I use my marijuana usually for the most part, when I come home from work. And or if I feel a bad trigger come on, I'll head downstairs or head outside to my little area and have a smoke. And it's not even about just having a smoke too, because a lot of times I just take a quick couple puffs. It's the whole moment, you know. You're in by yourself. You can take a minute to yourself, get your head on straight, think straight, right? So far, everyone is supporting marijuana strains because they affect my anxiety. I use CBD for my chronic pain, and indica strands help me with my sleep. Yeah, I agree, Stacy. It's helped me a lot with my sleep, especially the drops. I had to talk to a nurse to learn how to properly use drops because at first I was just taking everything I need for the day and drink it. Okay, my drops are good. No, it's best to like span it throughout the day, you know what I mean? And like, if you got to take 3 milliliters a day, it's best to take a milliliter at 9, another milliliter at 12, another milliliter at 3. Spread it through the day. I was just taking 3 milliliters one shot and hoping that was good for the whole day. And I learned now it's not the proper way to do it, right? But I'm only learning. I'm still learning, right? Maybe what I could do, and I actually talked to Marijuana for Trauma about this, guys. Marijuana for Trauma, like I told you, is a place where they help get people prescriptions. Maybe you guys would like it if I did a live broadcast from Marijuana for Trauma, and you guys could talk actually to the nurse, or maybe even to the doctor who's there. I don't know, he's pretty busy, but I know the nurse for sure would talk and answer any questions. and about marijuana for trauma, and especially if you're in Canada, right? You like to know more. That's about all I can think of when it comes to marijuana. That's about all I know, right? I know I'm allowed to grow plants too, but I don't try to grow anything. All right, I got some vegetables growing. You. But yeah, yeah, Matt, you like to see that? Cool, because I already have talked to Marijuana for Trauma, and they agreed to let me come in with the camera and do a live broadcast, right? So it's going to happen. But yeah, that's it. Before I go, I'll give it a couple more minutes in case anyone wants to come on and have a chat. And if they got anything to say about marijuana, because you can come on. You can almost treat this like a call-in show, right? Right now, anyone who wants, they can let me know, and they can come online with me and tell me what they think about marijuana. And if not, that's all good too. My dog is like staring at me in the corner. My dog got fixed. I got a Great Dane, and my dog got fixed. So for 2 weeks, she's not allowed to go for walks. And what's today? Tuesday. Friday, she's allowed to go for a walk again, and she's like, on pins and needles. I was like, why aren't we going for walks, Jamie? Yeah. All right, doesn't seem like anyone wants to come online and have a talk with me. I am going to try to do this a few more times, though. Pick out a topic, and we'll just discuss it like this here. And while I'm talking about the topic, like I said, if anyone wants to come online and do a little chat, you don't have to share your story or anything, but we're just talking about the topic. And tonight's topic is marijuana. I think this is a topic we'll talk about again. All right? Anyway, no one got anything to talk about? Say about marijuana? All right. Have a good night, everybody.